For this video, we're going to look at activity 1.1.5H. In this activity, you're going to make a flowchart, a diagram. And what you're going to do is you're going to select a career in science, technology, engineering, or math, and you're going to do some research on it. So on this sheet that you're given, we're going to look at the questions that you're going to be given, and you're going to answer 6 different questions about your occupation that you've chosen. And in those 6 questions, you're going to give 3 facts about each question. So, question 1, what is the current salary of this occupation? What are the working conditions? Are they inside, outside, in an office, plant, or lab, or other things? What are the major job responsibilities? The job outlook, is there going to be a rise or loss in jobs? What is the future salary? And other things that you can find. What kind of education is needed for this type of work? So what kind of special education, if you need any, like going to a trade school or college, are you going to need? And then name 3 or 4 related careers. So what you'll need to do is access your Canvas site, and you'll need to go into Design and Modeling. And once you're in Design and Modeling, go to Modules, and we'll access the activity 1.1.5H, and then click the Resources tab. Located here, you'll have your worksheet in the activity area, and so if you don't have that sheet, you'll be able to print that out. The links to do your research, I gave you 4 links, and really the first one is all you should need to be able to answer any of these questions. You'll need to access the Google Apps, so you'll need to log into your Gmail account, and you'll make a Google drawing to make a diagram such as one of these for your career. So instead of writing a paragraph and explaining about these questions or simply answering them, sometimes making things into a graphic makes it a lot easier to see the information and how it's related. So in this case, we have a central idea, which is our career. We have the 6 questions going around the outside here. So those I made into main ideas. And then the same thing on this one, except our ideas flow downwards. So we start at the top and we work down. So either one will be acceptable, either starting in the center, working our way out, or starting from above and working our way down. We want to make our chart look organized and be able to show that different information on it. So on this website, Bureau of Labor Statistics, you'll go ahead and click on that, and it'll load up a very long list of careers. So these are basically all the careers you can work in here in the United States, and the government keeps track of different information about those jobs. So what you're looking for are different STEM jobs: science, technology, engineering, or math. So a professional football player would not fall underneath this category. A waiter or waitress would not fall underneath this category. So they have to be in a technical area that deals with science, technology, engineering, or math. So if we click on aerospace engineers, for example, it's going to take us to a page with different tabs at the top that are going to be able to answer those questions that we see on the right, those 6 questions. So for the education, you'll need to go to how to become one. And it's going to talk about the education that you'll need to get to this job. It'll talk about some of the qualities that you need in order to be successful and to get into this job, and perhaps any sort of special licenses or certifications that you'll need in order to obtain this career. So you'll need to pick 3 facts from this page to answer the question about what kind of education is needed for this job. So we have, what do they do? So it has the job responsibilities here of what they do in their career. So we need to pick 3 of those, and then it goes on to talk a little bit more about those different duties. Work environment. So what are the working conditions? Where do they work? So for this career, most aerospace people who work in engineering, they work in product and parts manufacturing. So 38% of the people that work in aerospace engineering work in making products and making the parts that go into different air vehicles. So we can use that as a fact. So we could also choose some other stuff that it might talk about here in the paragraph. So we want to pick 3 facts from our work environment. What kind of pay do they have? So here, usually in this first paragraph, it's going to talk about the median wage for that job, and median meaning the middle pay. So the middle pay for this job would be $105,000 in 2014. The lowest 10% of people working in this career would be making $66,000, and the highest paid 10% are going to make $155,000. So it talks about the different groups of workers and how much they'd make. So there's some pieces of information there you can use. And the people who work in aerospace engineering, if they work for the federal government, excluding the post office, they would make an average of $113,000. So depending on where you work, you're going to make a different amount of money. So those are some pieces of information you can use for the pay. For the job outlook, it talks about what it's going to look like here in 10 years from 2014 to 2024, or whatever the years may be when you access this site. It's going to have different information about how this job is going to grow or maybe shrink. If we look down here, there's a chart on most of these jobs that will talk about the employment in 2014 and how many jobs there were in that career at that time, and then how many they predict will be in the career in 2024. So in this case, there's going to be an estimated 70,000 or so jobs, 71,000 jobs, which means that if we look here, the change between 2014 and 2024 is going to be a negative percent. So it's going to decrease by 2%, which means there's going to be less jobs in this field in 2024. That's not a good thing for anyone who wants to get in it. So there's not going to be as much of a demand. So the paragraph's going to talk about that. So there's some facts you can get from the paragraphs. But one of the things you can use is that in 2014 to 2024, there's going to be a decrease or an increase, depending on your career, of number of jobs. And then similar occupations, what other jobs are similar, and it'll talk about what those jobs' duties are, what kind of degree you'll need, and what kind of pay that you would make in that sort of career. So some of them you're going to make more, you're going to need less education or more education, you might make less money, just depends. So you'll need to pick 3 of those that sound interesting and write some information about those for the related careers. So once you have finished and you have researched your job using these different tabs on this site, you'll then need to log into your Google account, and you'll need to be able to access your drive. So if we pull this over, and you access your drive here by going into the Google app button and selecting drive, you'll have this screen come up. You'll need to select new and then go to more, Google Drawings. And that's going to allow us to make a drawing. So these different apps have different features, and so we're going to make a graphic from this. So you have some tools here at the top. So you'll want to either start at the top and work your way down, or start in the middle and work your way out, depending on how you want to make the chart. So you can use what I have here to kind of cheat and look at. So I put those on there as examples for you to use. So your Google drawing, you'll start with some shapes, or if you want to use a picture, you can use an image and search for an image and use that as your central idea, like I did here. I'm just going to use a shape. So we put our central idea on here, and we can modify that if we like. When we print these out, they're going to be most likely in black and white, so you don't really need to worry about color so much as shape. So shape is going to be more important than the color to differentiate our different topics and ideas. So I'm going to make my ideas going around the outside here, and you can make one shape and copy it very easily. So if you want to copy shapes and things here in Google Docs, you're going to have to use the keyboard commands. So Control C and Control V. So Control C to copy, Control V to paste. So I want to copy the circle and make 5 more of them for my 6 ideas, 6 questions. So we want to spread those around our central idea, and then we can connect those so that we could see they're related. So we could select the line tool here. We could pick line, you could pick arrow, elbow connector, curve connector. Those are all work for me. I'm going to just pick a line. And when you put your mouse cursor over a shape, now you'll see there's some purple handles that appear, purple circles. So you can click on that and hold the mouse button and drag that line over to your other shape and connect it with another handle, and now they're attached. So if you go and move the circles around, now that line is going to be attached to the 2 shapes. So if you have to rearrange things, then things won't move around and you won't have to adjust the line.